Hi, this is Julie, or you can call me Jules, and my station name is Jules of Tyler. And I'm glad you can come today and look at my flip through my 8th journal. This journal here consists of many pages from children's books and a lot of children ephemera. Some are vintage and some are digitals and some are just new ephemera. This book here is 9 inches by 6 1/4 inches. The spine is 2.5 inches. There we go. And we have 2 signatures and a total of 94 pages. The front of this is Sally from the Dick and Jane book and Spot. And I have a little rickrack and some trim. And I have a little banner across the top. And it's on scrapbook paper. On the spine, I have some fabric and some lace with some vintage buttons sewn in. Here's a tassel that just slips in and out really easily. I learned this from Thrifty Day. I laminated Sally and just made strings of beads and little charms. I'm going to put this over to the side here. The closure here is just of ribbon. I've put 2 eyelets in, front and back. Let's open this up here. Okay. On the inside cover, I have scrapbooking paper with a pocket. And I have a little sewing in here with a little girl and a lamb. This is something I made with a pocket and a little flip out. This is with some dyed papers and digital papers. We got a little washi tape here. There's plenty of room for writing. Here's a vintage photo and a tag and a little cutout from a music book. And that here, that can be glued into the book on the back if you want to, or just stuck in the pocket. On our first signature here at the very beginning, I put lace with some ribbon through this, and I have a scrapbooking paper that I folded, and it just flips in and out here. This first page has a card game, a children's card game, and this one is Mary Had a Little Lamb. Have a little tag here, the little writing spot on the back. It slips right back in its pocket. I have lots of lace and just a little bit of fabric and a doily in the back. When you flip it back open, this is a second card that goes with the game. Here's a little pad that I cut out. Many pages that you can journal on, or if you just want to cut them out, you can do that. On this page, we have a pocket with another tag, and I put a paper doll here in a little collage. Inside the pocket, I have another card from a different children's card game with a little tiger on it. The back side can be written on, or you can glue this on a page. Close that up here. The next page over, I have a page from a children's book, and I think this was from the 20s. And I put a pocket here with a couple of little tickets. I have some vintage trim and a vintage milk cap right here. On this next page, I have ledger and a vintage picture of the beach. And I just put this on a little paper clip right here, and I put a little bit of ribbon on top. The next page also has a pocket, and right here are some tickets for 1 quart of milk, and that is vintage, with a vintage flash card with an M for Milkman and with a bottle cap. You can write on both sides of that. And this is another card game, children's card game. This is another children's book, and this one is one with the mice raise the baby kitty. I've got several pages of that one. Here's just some scrapbook paper that you can journal on with a little bit of lace and a sticker. On the next page, we have some trim with green. This is hand-dyed paper in the pinks. It has a pocket with some fabric trim. And this is a vintage party party invitation. It opens up here. You can tell that it's definitely old. Open it up and you can definitely journal in that. Okay. This next page here is some digitals from KB and Friends. I have quite a few of hers because she has the cutest children images and she has great background paper that match perfectly. This side is just white, so you can journal on this. This is a pocket that I made, and I just have a vintage advertisement. Just a page from an old magazine. I think it's from the 40s. This is a little girl, and she is ice skating. On the other side is another hand-dyed paper. This is a Sears Roebuck catalog page, and it's a reproduction from the early 1900s, little girls with bonnets. I cut out a page from a children's book here, and I embellished it with a little rick-rack and some fabric and a button. And here is a scrapbook and card right here with another page from the children's book. And on the back side, you can definitely write on that. And of course, you can always glue it in your book for a tuck spot. Okay, here's the other side with the little girls with the bonnet. And this is a vintage page out of a Dick and Jane's book with Puff, which is the cat. This is a piece of scrapbook paper, I believe here. I don't think it's the hand-dyed. I think it is. Yes, I think it is from scrapbooking. My scrapbooking days. This is a page, not a page, this is actually wrapping paper. And I think it's from the 70s with the little rabbits on there. And I put a little pocket here with a little poem from a children's book. This is a TV guide, which is really fun to look at. Just brings you back memory lane here, and you can look at all the neat little shows from a long time ago. Some of them you probably haven't thought about in years, but it's fun to look at, so I stuck that in here as in this first signature. This is another digital page with a doily. Next page over, I have stenciled some roses with Tim Holtz ink. I have left the strings from the signatures long, just in case you wanted to untie them and put charms on them, or you can cut them off if you don't want them long. This is an advertisement out of a magazine that I tore out. The next page is the other side with the doily and with the TV guide. This pocket here is from some cards I bought off the internet, and they're from Germany. They're definitely vintage. They have glitter, just really, really cute little girls there. And I made this tag with fabric and a little bit of lace. And on the back side, I have a vintage comic strip book of Snoopy. And I glued that on the back side of that. Here's the other side of the Dick and Jane book. And the other side of the Sears catalog. And here's the hand-dyed paper with another pocket. And this is just a couple little pieces of ephemera that you can glue anywhere on any of the pages. Just whatever you choose to do. Here's a little ruffle trim that I sewed on here. Another page from the KB and Friends. This one is a hand-dyed page here in the pink with this pink stitching. And again, I have the fabrics that I stitched together on here at the pocket. This is from a card game, children's card game, and it is vintage. And with the little viewfinder, and this one is of Goofy. And I have put a butterfly on the back of this to match this page. So there we go. Here's some blank spaces for you to journal on, or you to add anything that you want to on it. Another page with the mouse and the cat. This one's fun with the large rickrack. This is an old book page, and this is from a paper sack, and it just opens up. We have some little goodies in here. I have some Valentines on here, and a couple little doilies, and another vintage Valentine, and a new Valentine here. And you can stick anything in here if you want to, and it just closes right back up. Right here I have another one of those images from Germany. You can see the glitter a little bit better on this one. And the children are in a little car, and that's the pocket. And I've stuck a vintage popcorn bag in here and a seed little pouch that's never been used. Hey, and from the great state of Texas. This is on top of a ledger page that has been hand-dyed pink. This is another page from that book that I told you about earlier from the 20s. And I put a little pinwheel on here and a little journaling card with a little girl and boy, and it's blank on the back side. A little bit of vintage lace is on the front. Let's see. Raggedy Ann is on this page. This is a playing card that I have, so I cut that out just to put her in the corner. This is a belly band. It's a double belly band. This is the back one, and the green is in the front, and with a large butterfly. And this is the beginning of the second signature. This is a vintage postcard that hasn't been written on, and this is again hand-dyed papers in the pink. And this was with the Kool-Aid, I believe. I can see the splotches of the Kool-Aid. Next page over is just a collage with a paper doll that I cut out, and some tickets, and a little bit of rickrack. Here's a page from a catalog that has a paper doll, and it's been sewn around. This is also from KB and Friends with this little girl. See how brilliant those colors are? The blues and the pinks really pick up. My printer does an excellent job on those colors, and that's probably one of my favorite pages that she's ever made. This is another page of hers, and see how they just blend in perfectly? They might be from different kits, but they all blend in perfectly together. I have a little bit of lace here on the edge. Blank page, and this is from a golden book here. It was a book of hymns, children and hymns. This is a decoupage page, not a decoupage, collage page, I guess. Well, I guess it is. And what I did was use some vintage papers and some new papers. And this is from a little children's book here, and a map. And also some digital. You can see the music pages. I just have all different kind of pages here. Just have some fun with. And the back side is another digital page. This is a vintage book page, and this is from the 20s. Next page over has a little side pocket here. And I have another little pocket that I made. I put a tag up front. It's a little flip out. And you have a pocket that you can put anything you want to in. And I have collaged this all with different kinds of paper and a little bit of lace. And I've stitched around it. And you can also journal on that or put anything in the pockets that you want. This is also from KB and Friends. This is from her sewing kit that she has. this page right here. This is from a napkin that I Mod Podged. It's all wrinkly. You can definitely write on the back of that. And here is another page. I believe this is from Polka Dot Pixels. I have a lot of her kits, so I believe that's from her. Just a little collage page, digital page. On the back side here, I have scrapbook and paper that I use as a pocket. And then I have a label, a can label, which is vintage. It's never been used. I have a really cute Disney book, and that's what I use as the next page with Mickey and Minnie and Pluto and Donald. Over here on this page, this is from a vintage magazine also. It was that little advertisement. This is a vintage birthday card with a little cute elephant. Just a precious face. This is a coffee or tea stained page. On the other side, there is cat fabric that I've sewn on. You can add something to that if you want to. This page here flips out, and this is the coffee or tea dyed page, which I stitched. You can glue each side down if you want to and make a little pocket, or you can slip something in here and put you a paper clip on here so it'll stay inside. The next page over, I have these cards that I glued down and made little pockets. There's some vintage price tags and a vintage cola drink right here. Here's the other side of the birthday card. You can write on the back of that. This is a little sack that I glued on, and I put another little pocket here with a cute little girl. And this is the clothing tag and another vintage label for a can. On the next page is the other side of the magazine page that I tore out. This is another digital with a tab. This is the other side of the napkin. And this here is a little flip out page that has pockets. I have two little eyelets here and some ribbon. And all this does is open up here, and you can see the two little pockets on hand-dyed paper. And here's a couple of flashcards with a Dick and Jane book. And there's also another pocket here that is clear, and I have another little label that I put, that little pink label here. So you can put anything you want to, and there's those two little pockets right here and two there, so you got 4 pockets in that one little spot. And here's the other side of the sewing kit from KB and Friends. Here's a little sewing page that I collaged together with some vintage measuring tape and some ribbon and a pattern, vintage needles, and a button card. And this is the cover of some seam binding that is vintage. I think it says 1969. Can't believe 1969 is vintage. Oh, that's so sad. Anyway, you can line this with a blank page if you want to have a journaling spot. If you turn over here, there's just another little flip out. Has a little cute little boy and girl here with a doily. I decorated with some paper and some rickrack. And this just opens up to another pocket and another little can label here. Here's a little journaling card with a little boy and girl. And glued behind here is a little ledger, and it's from a train company. I can't remember which one it is, but I have a whole book on that. Here is an itty bitty envelope that is velcroed shut, and it has 2 stamps inside here that you could use if you wanted to. And I have just a little washi tape for the flip out. This right here is from a little recipe pamphlet that's vintage, and I made a copy of that so it can be journaled on the back. It was pretty flimsy and really thin, so that's why I made a copy. But I think it's from Nestle. It looks like, I see the Nestle brand right here. but it was just the cutest little booklet. More scrapbooking paper that has been cut out with a punch of mine. Here is the other side of the children's hymn book with a little fabric ruffle. And this page is a little eyelet material with some rickrack. And I've made this little cute tag with a button. On the back side it's blank so you can write on it. There are 2 stamps, some fabric, little lamb from a children's book, and some vintage buttons on the little card. That just slips back in there. And on the next page is KB and Friends, digital. This page here has some vintage trim, and here's a hidden paper clip. It's just front and back with a little bit of lace and a little bit of vintage rickrack right here. And I have a little seed cover that I backed with a little bit of paper for journaling card. And this is a digital, it's not original like the other seed packet was. Let's see if I can get that in here. Probably not since everybody's watching. Ah, there we go. Let's put that back in here. Okay, almost finished. This page here is the other side of the page of paper dolls. And here's the Kool-Aid dyed papers. On this last page here, on the back cover, I again have KB and Friends digital papers with a pocket with lace and a little cutout. And this is another little pocket from a vintage book. And this is from the 20s with a little bit of vintage trim. It opens up where you can write on this and more images from that book. And then I made a little tag to go along with it with that little cute rabbit. Back side, I've put some little, cut out some little flowers and punched out some little dots there and glued them on. And that can go in here. And this can also be glued into your book if you want to, just whatever you want to do. But there we go. And that is it on the book. Now, I'm including in here many little book pages and digitals, trims, lots of vintage things. Some are new that you can use in this book just so you can decorate the journal just the way you want to. And I have like scriptures and little fussy cut items. This is vintage, a little vintage card game. Tags, we got stickers, catalog pages, another couple tags that you can put some ribbon through here. You can journal on the back. And just another ruffle with a vintage songbook that I sewed. More vintage trim of little bows. And little daisies and some little fabric, little trims that you can use. This is a little library card, little cutout monkey. This is a envelope that I made from the Dick and Jane's book with some rickrack with spot. I put spot on the back. You can fill that with whatever you want to. This is an old recipe that I stuck in here. More flashcards. And again, you can cover these or you can collage these, just whatever you want to. I also have a Betsy Clark playing card that's vintage. Here's KB and Friends. That's just something you can cut out if you want to or use it on a page. This is a vintage little sales report, little ledger. This is also a digital with the pretty blues. I think will go really good with this book. This is a little card that you can use or you can cut out. Here is a letter. I believe it's from 1919. It doesn't have the year, but it has the date. But from the bunch of other letters that I got, it's around that age. So that's just right there if you want to use that as a collage. This is from an old recipe book from the late 1800s. And then we have a vintage songbook Little coin envelope. This is something like green stamps, but it's called Top Value. I'm not familiar with this or what area that was, but I did find that whole book in an antique store, so I thought this would look really good with the colors of that book. This is just the early 1900s spelling book. This is another journaling card with some hand-dyed paper on the back. This is a bingo card that I've just put a little collage with a tag on here. You can also journal on that. This is a ledger card, and this is a ledger paper that I cut down, and I believe it says 1918. Here is a page from a Dick and Jane book. And this is from a vintage dictionary. There's a rather large page here. And this is from a children's book with the pretty colors there. And this was just a little Easter something that had the little pretty colors I thought would look good with this journal also. And this is from a book I have with poems in Thomas Kincaid. And it's all children's poems. So I'm going to stick that in there also so that you can have a fun time with your journal and just make it just the way you want to. So anyway, that's what I have for you today, and I really appreciate you watching this video. I'm pretty new to this. I've been doing this for about, I guess, 9 months now. Close to a year. Well, no, I think it has been a year. Anyway, I've just been having lots of fun with it. So I've made myself a journal, and I just love the journal. And mine are my favorite things. I have things from my childhood and, things that I love, my favorite books, just it's called my happy book, and it really is my happy book. So I'm still working on that. But anyway, I wanted to make some for other people too. So I hope you enjoy this and have fun with it like I'm having fun with mine. So thank you so much, and I hope you subscribe to my channel, and I'm hoping to come back on with some tutorials soon, and I hope I'll see you there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.